this point, you are able to write equations of lines given 2 points, given a point and a slope, given a situation, given the slope and intercept. Well, now we're going to be working with parallel lines. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to write an equation of a line that is parallel to another line. Right, before we get going and writing equations, we're going to do just a little bit of work on parallel lines. Parallel lines have slopes that are the same. All right, and examples of lines that are parallel, if I draw a line right here, parallel have the same slope, so they have the same steepness. And that would be an example of two lines that are parallel. I could also write equations of lines that are parallel. Actually, I'll do that down there, I guess. Another example of parallel line would be lines that go, both are this way, or both that are going this way. They both have the same slope. These ones both have an undefined slope. These both have slopes of 0. Okay, in example 1, it says to write equations of two lines that are parallel. Well, we know that the equations have to have the same slope, so I'm just going to start with 1, and I'll get y equals 1/2 x plus 2. I'm just making any one up. And then if I want to write an equation of another line that's parallel to this one, the slope has to be the same. So the number in front of the x has to be the same. So I'm going to put y equals, it still has to be 1/2 x, but then it can be anything. I'm going to put -5, but you could put +3, +8, -2, whatever. Okay, the next thing that we're going to be looking at, if we're given some information, are the two lines parallel? Do they have the same slope? So I'm going to say, are the two lines parallel? We're going to ask ourselves the question, do they have the same slope? If yes, then they'll be parallel. If not, no. All right, so the line A passes through 5, -2, and 7, 4. So what we're going to have to do is find the slope. So I'm going to subtract 4 minus -2, and then I'll subtract 7 minus 5, and that will give me, boom, boom, 6/2, which gives me a slope of 3. So A has a slope of 3, and now let's take a look at B. We'll have 12 minus 3, remember it's always the second value minus the second value, over 1 minus -2. So 12 minus 3 is 9. 1 minus -2 turns into 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So they both have a slope of 3. So when it says, are the two lines parallel, I would say yes. And it does say to explain. I will say they both have slope of 3. Okay? All right, now example 3 is still the same thing. Are the two lines parallel? Line A, y equals 5x minus 3, and line B, -10x plus 2y equals 4. Well, remember, we want to answer the question, do they have the same slope? Well, if I look at line A, I know that the slope is going to be 5 because that's the number that is next to the x. So this is going to be my slope for this one. So that has a slope of 5. But the second one, I'm not sure. So what we're going to do is actually write it in y equals form so that we can determine that. So if you remember solving this for y, the first thing we're going to do is add 10x to both sides. And so those cross out. I'm going to be left with 2y equals 4 plus 10x. You cannot combine those because they are not like terms. Then we are going to divide all three parts by the 2. So I'll get y equals 2 plus 10 divided by 2 is 5x, and now the slope is the number that's attached to the x, so the 5 is going to be my slope. So this one has a slope equal to 5, and if I look at this, I notice that the slopes are both 5, so once again, yes, they are parallel, and the reason is they both have a slope of 5. If one had 5 and one had -5, then no, they would not be parallel. Okay, the next thing that we're going to be doing is writing an equation of the line that passes through the given point and is parallel to the given line. So I'm going to draw a picture, number 4. You do not need to draw the picture. I'm just trying to show you what we are trying to find. Okay, so I'm going to first of all start by drawing y equals 5x minus 3. So I'm going to start at the number without the x. So I'm going to start down at -3. And then from there we are going to rise 5 and run 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 1. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and connect them. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to write an equation of the line that is parallel to this one, but our new line is going to pass through the point -1, -1, 4. So what we are trying to do, we want a line that goes through this line that's parallel to that one, so we are looking for, I'm just going to try to draw them parallel here. I am looking for the equation of this line. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. And again, you do not need to draw your pictures. I just wanted you to show you what we're looking for. All right, so we know from looking at this line right here that the 5 is the one next to the x. So the slope of this line is 5. So the slope of our new line is also going to be 5. So the information that we have, we know the point goes through the negative 1, 4, and it has a slope of 5. So now this is our x, this is our y. Hopefully this looks familiar to you that we are now going to solve for b. So we're going to have y equals mx plus b. Plug in what we know. Y is 4, m is 5, x is negative 1. And then solving this for equals 5 times negative 1 is negative 5 plus b. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So I'll get b is equal to 9. And so when it's said to write an equation, my equation is going to be y equals 5x plus 9. That would be the equation of this line up here. All right, number 5. This time our new line is going to go through the point 2, negative 3, and it's going to be parallel to y equals negative 2/3 x plus 7. This time I'm not going to draw the picture. We'll just hop right into what we're doing. Okay, so we know if my line is parallel to y equals negative 2/3 x plus 7, it is going to have the same slope. So I'm going to circle what's in front of the x. We know that that's our slope. So what information we know we have, our line goes through 2, negative 3, and we know that our slope is going to be negative 2/3. And now from here I'm going to write an equation of the line. I'll have y equals mx plus b. If you want to label everything, go ahead. So my y is negative 3, my m is negative 2/3, my x is 2 plus b. Now let's just work this out. Negative 3 equals negative 2/3 times 2. If you use your calculator or just your brain, one or the other, you'll get negative 1 1/3 plus b. And then I will add 1 1/3 to both sides. And when I do that, I will get b is equal to 1 2/3. So actually negative 1 2/3. So the equation of my line will be y equals, my slope again was negative 2/3 x minus 1 2/3. All right, and then that would be the equation of the line that went through to negative 3 parallel to the other line. Okay, and then number 6, I'm going to let you try all by yourself. So please pause the video at this point in time. Come back to see how you did. All right, hopefully you're back and you've got a good answer. We know that our line is going to go through the point 5, 7 and be parallel to y equals negative 3x plus 4. So if I look at what's in front of the x, that's a negative 3. That's going to be my slope. So I am looking for a line that goes through 5, 7 and has the slope of negative 3. And now we'll label our x and our y, and we're ready to write the equation. So then y equals 7, m equals negative 3, x equals 5 plus b. And then from here, let's see, we'll multiply. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15 plus b. We'll add 15 to both sides. And then 7 plus 15 is 22. And so we're ready to write our equation. So we'll get y equals the slope, which was negative 3x plus 22. And one thing I wanted to point out in all of these problems, when we were in the original equation, y equals 5x minus 3, y equals negative 2/3 x plus 7, y equals negative 3x plus 4, we never used this number. I'm just going to even scribble it off. We never had to use that because that was just our baseline, but it's not the line that we were looking for. So don't accidentally use that number. If you have to scribble it out when you start, go right ahead. So hopefully now you know how to write an equation of a line that's parallel to another line.